Welcome back. Well, for those of you who tuned in last night, you'll know some of my thoughts and Sheila Gunn-Reid's thoughts on the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. My main takeaway was what a disaster the debate was in terms of process, procedure, format, and the interventionism of the supposedly neutral moderator, Chris Wallace. As our friend Joel Pollack points out, Wallace not only overtalked the candidates and by a margin of 5-1 overtalked Donald Trump, he brought factual errors into the debate, and he engaged in some partisan banter too that was not his place. But what was the substance of the actual debate? Did any side score some points? Joining us now to talk about it is the author of an incredible book on Ilhan Omar. We've talked to him before, Benjamin Weingarten's book, American Ingrate, Ilhan Omar and the Progressive Islamist Takeover of the Democratic Party. And Benjamin Weingarten joins us now. Ben, what did you think of the debate? Who do you think won? Was there even a winner?
I think Chris Wallace tried to be the winner of the debate. I'm not sure if he succeeded ultimately, given that we just found out word before this broadcast that the debate commission would be changing the structure of the debates going forward. I do think on the substance, and it's very important to point this out, there were any number of issues on which Joe Biden essentially said, I have no answer. And I'll just tick through them really quickly because they're incredibly significant when it comes to thinking about the stakes of this election. And that's really what these debates should be about. So he had no answer on court packing. He had no answer on Hunter Biden's corruption. He had and his relationship to it, because of course Hunter Biden and his family members were profiting from all sorts of adversarial foreign regimes while Vice President Biden was vice president. The filibuster, lack of support from law enforcement, Biden's accomplishments in 47 years versus Trump's accomplishments in 47 months, coronavirus strategy, environmental radicalism. So President Trump got Biden on record or not on record, as the case may be, on this litany of items. And he also broke through the veneer of this affable Uncle Joe. And I think he pretty effectively forced Biden to infuriate the left by denouncing all the positions that are right in the Biden-Bernie Sanders unity agenda. So I think on the substance, those were hugely impactful hits. And my main takeaway, though, is that last time around in 2016, it was very clear that Trump defined Hillary Clinton, besides being crooked Hillary, as really not having much of any substance. You could not, in a sentence, define what Hillary Clinton was running on. I think the same can be said with Joe Biden. President Trump, on the other hand, as the insurgent candidate last time, ran on America first, get out of bad trade deals, put the American worker first, let's get back to a patriotic country with a vibrant civil society where we're going to protect the people who are under fire from progressive elites, build the wall, and the like. And I think in the next debate going forward, and vice presidential as well, there needs to be an emphasis on creating a contrast not only in the personalities of the individuals, but in the vision for this country and what's at stake. Because I think on that basis, Donald Trump kills Joe Biden, but it needs to be made abundantly clear to the American people.
Yeah, last night felt squabbly and quarrelsome. Obviously, it's a debate, so it's going to have some of that in it. But it felt like it was devolving into a muddle and a mess. I saw that announcement that you referred to, that the Debates Commission wants to change formats. I'm guessing they're going to cut the mics of the opposing candidate when the other candidate is speaking. That's one of my predictions of the changes to be made. I think that I hope that the other debates are more clarifying. I think Trump was underprepared. Biden was clearly very practiced, had his talking points, and managed to get through them without having a Biden moment. I think Trump felt a little bit like he does as a campaign speech, stream of consciousness, some talking points, but not practiced lines of what he thought was going to come up in the debate. That's just how it came across to me. Maybe he's too busy or didn't compel himself to go into that discipline, or thought, well, I'm great with the media, unlike Joe Biden, I'll just wing it. It just felt like he was winging it a bit to me. Those are my thoughts, but let me ask you a question, because you mentioned that Trump managed to get Biden to move to the center. And on environmental radicalism, we saw Biden very clearly disavowed the Green New Deal. And I think that Biden also tried to claim he was more about law and order than he has been in the past. But here's my point to you, and I said this to Sheila Gunn Reid last night. I don't think that's going to drive a wedge between Joe Biden and his left-wing base, because I think that they will vote against Trump no matter what. And they're delighted that Biden says whatever he has to say to win over some of middle America too. So if Biden fibs, throws the AOC wing, the Ilhan Omar wing of the party under the bus in a debate that millions of Americans are watching, I think the Antifa wing, the squad, that part of the party doesn't care, because, you know, whatever, by any means necessary, say whatever you have to, lie, cheat, whatever it takes to win, just win, and they'll figure it out after the revolution.
I think you're right that ultimately candidate Joe Biden, and I always put it in parentheses because he hasn't really run per se. And when he said Harris Biden, I think that was an accurate description of what this ticket is. Kamala Harris in some ways really embodies the nature of the party today, because it's all about power at any cost, no matter what. The ends justify the means. It's about control over us ultimately. And Joe Biden has always been the Trojan horse candidate for the leftist energy within their party. So I agree. It's not that he's going to lose votes as a consequence of trying to create a wedge there, but I think it is to try to stir up some dissension to the extent it can be stirred on their side. What I would suggest is that the president ought to do two things next time. First of all, when he's being attacked by the moderator and it's clear that every question is about ultimately trying to frame Orange Man bad, the Democrat message, is say, I reject the premise of your question and it should offend the American people that you think so little of them. And then he should pivot to, here's what you're trying to get at by framing this question as such. Why don't you ask my opponent XYZ? I think that would be a very effective tact next time. And then number two, he has to make it very clear that Biden is the candidate of a radical left that ultimately wants to pillage your bank account, wants to destroy the suburbs, and make it very clear the Democrats' anti-suburb Obama-Biden plan. Make it very clear that he's going to not just cripple your 401k and raise your taxes and all the rest, but ultimately that their party is a party that is anti-American, that wants to destroy the America we know and love. And Biden may disavow that, but you need to get him on very crisp, succinct points disavowing it. He didn't do that last night. The contrast in the two visions has to be made clear. It's absolutely imperative that it be made clear in the next couple presidential debates.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.